Let's see what were the strangest weapons and military equipment designed and created by people. The anti-tank dogs were dogs taught to carry explosives to tanks and other armored vehicles. The good boys were trained by Russians who intended to use them against Germans during the Second World War. The original idea was that the dog will carry the bomb to the tank and then retreat so that the bomb would be detonated by the timer. However, something did not go well and the Russians decided to change the bomb so it will defuse on impact with the tanks and the dog will be sent to dog's heaven. Let's continue with sticky bombs. This was an anti-tank hand grenade developed by Brits when they took some breaks from drinking tea. Soldiers were supposed to, surprise, stick it to the enemy tanks. After releasing the grenade, they had 5 seconds to run away. However, some issues appeared during testing. First of all, it wasn't sticking to dusty or muddy tanks. Secondly, if the soldier was careless it could stick to his uniform. And discovering an anti-tank grenade swinging on your jacket while running away from the tank you were supposed to blow up is the last surprise you will have in your life. Russians again. This time they decided to attach some wings to a tank, in order to make a tank-o-plane, or O-plane-o-tank. They named it Antonov A-40 tank wings, a more modest name. The main idea was that a plane will tow this tank and then release it. The tank will then glide and land safely on the battlefield. As this idea did not quite work, the Russians decided to drop the tanks from airplanes at few meters above Earth, which worked as long as the gearbox was in neutral because the tank would roll to a stop. They also tried to drop tanks into water, perhaps that's why people find abandoned tanks in swamps and lakes nowadays. Another crazy idea during the Second World War were the bat bombs, developed by the United States. The bomb consisted of a bomb-shaped casing with over 1,000 compartments, each containing a bat with a small, timed incendiary bomb attached. Dropped from a bomber at dawn, the case would deploy a parachute in mid-flight and open to release the bats. The small bombs attached to bats had timers, so the bats had some time to disperse until the mini-bombs detonated and ignited a lot of fires. The target was of course Japan with its wood and paper buildings. Let's continue with Brits again. The Blue Peacock was a British tactical nuclear weapon from 1950s. They wanted to detonate these mines in case the Russians invaded Germany in order to deny occupation of the area to an enemy for an appreciable time due to contamination. The mine was pretty sensible. If it was moved, lost pressure, or was filled with water, it would detonate after 10 seconds. Just like your mom when she finds out your grades. However, a big technical problem was the cold during winter. Sometimes it was getting so cold that the electronics stopped working, thus the mines could not be detonated from distance. A proposal was to seal a chicken inside the mine with some food and water. Their body heat seemed sufficient to heat the mine for a couple of cold days. Other benefits were the radioactive eggs. Another cool thing the Brits developed in the Second World War was the explosive rat, aka the rat bomb. And now listen carefully how you make a rat bomb. You catch a rat and kill it, and then you sew some explosive inside it. The Brits wanted to distribute the booby-trapped rats near boiler rooms, for example in locomotives, factories or power stations. The people those days used to throw the rats in the furnace to dispose of them. A rat with some explosive inside it tossed in fire could cause a small explosion, which in turn would trigger a more devastating boiler explosion. And we continue now with the United States and their gay bomb. This was a non-lethal psychochemical weapon. The bomb was supposed to eliminate female sex pheromones over enemy forces in order to make them sexually attracted to each other. In other words, make love, not war. A derivation from this bomb was the heavy sweating bomb. The plan was to make the enemy smell so bad that opponents could sniff where they are hiding. Brits again with their Panjandrum. This was a massive rocket-propelled cart full of explosives. They wanted to use it in order to penetrate the Atlantic Wall, which was 3 meters high and 2.1 meters thick. The cart had 2 wheels to which rockets were attached. During the tests it was very unstable, tipping over usually. Rockets were also detaching from the wheels, so the project was scrapped almost immediately over safety concerns. This time something new, Italy. They developed the human torpedoes, the first one being nicknamed the Pig because it was really difficult to steer. These are some tiny submarines which were rowed by divers. When approaching a ship, they would release the warhead which was used as a limpet mine. A limpet mine is attached magnetically to the ship's hull and explodes after a certain time. If a target was not detected, the divers then rowed the mini-sub away to safety. I assume sharks were pretty happy with this kind of weapons. The last thing I would like to mention in this list is the Cornfield bomber. This looks less like a strange weapon and more like an interesting case. During a routine training flight the pilot lost the control of the aircraft and could not recover it, so he ejected from the aircraft at the altitude of 4,600 meters. However, the aircraft recovered itself after the pilot ejected from it, and landed safely in a cornfield. It continued to drift slowly on ground because the engines were still turned on, and the sheriff was informed to leave it alone until it runs out of fuel, which happened after approximately 2 hours. Moreover, the aircraft was recovered, repaired, and returned back to service. And that's all. Hope you enjoyed it. The links to the original articles are included in the description. As you may noticed, I did not include Mary in this video.
Why please?
Sorry, not so much for you to say in this video. If you are new here and wanted to find who she is, check out my previous videos, for example the one about the panty raids and other pranks from 1950s.